Well, here we are. This is the video I promised a couple weeks ago now. I said I'd make another video when I landed at another company, kind of tell you guys where I landed. My second chance is at Western Express. So we'll see how that goes. Kind of to celebrate that though, let's kind of take a moment and appreciate the moment, appreciate the story of how I ended up almost not getting my CDL at all. Because, believe it or not, I almost failed the state test. There are a few ways to do that. One of them is failure to yield. Another is the other is the obvious, to have a collision or get cited. There's a third there's another one actually for stopping in neutral, as in stopping the truck while out of gear. So this is the reason why I'm saying that and sharing this bit of information is because it is actually relevant. So, I made it through my time in Lewiston. At the time, they were still teaching on manual trucks, so this story is already dated. If any of you guys that aren't already driving were to go out and earn your CDL now, you would not be learning on a manual truck. You'd be learning on an automatic. So already, you don't have to worry about this story happening to you, because the truck will already put itself into gear. So, let's start a little bit before the state test. And that's actually Swift's driven exam that they do. Yeah, driven exams when you get hired on with a company are not strictly for when you get on with your second or your third company. Your first company will also do a driven test, usually. I know Swift does, and I know that Western Express does. I don't know about most other companies, but most companies will put you in a truck with one of their instructors to see how you drive. So, back here, actually, because I was driving on a 10-speed manual, I went ahead and drew up the shifting pattern for a 10-speed transmission. It's just a 5-speed on top of another 5-speed. Up here in the top left is reverse. It's low and high reverse, depending on what position the splitter is in. From there, it's first. Sorry, I'm doing this in mirror image. Second, third, fourth, fifth. Splitter up. Sixth, seventh, eighth. This is weird. I'm sitting here trying to navigate it in the camera preview on the phone screen. Ninth, and then straight down the 10th. And then the same reversed. The same reverse. I'm going to go ahead and switch hands here so that way I can do it with my actual shifting hand. Going back down is actually... going back down is 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th, splitter down, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. Except realistically, when you're stopping, the splitter's never going to go down. So realistically, your splitter's still up, and you're never going to go lower than 7th before you're at a stop. Then you'll drop the splitter, bring it to 3rd. Bring it to 3rd is usually the one you start out when you're loaded. Unless you're real heavy, then you're in 2nd or 1st. And I know that I just did some really weird things there, but bear with me. So up here is the shifting pattern. If you can read it on the larger screen, awesome. If it's still reversed, like my videos have been want to do as of late, then well, fuck. Sorry, because I tried fixing the last video that I filmed in post, and it just didn't work. So short window of time before I go out with the mentor driver again tomorrow. I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to upload this as is. One take. Let's do this. So we're going to start the story actually with Swift's driven exam that I did before I took the state test. And this is where I kind of have to establish that legally, yes, I can drive a stick shift in I can drive a manual truck. If I want to is another story, though, because I'd have to dust the cobwebs off, and even then my confidence is going to be not great because of this story. So this story actually starts in the driven in Swift's driven test, when I went out with the same guy that's been teaching me out on the road for the last like 3 weeks now, and and something that is a little known secret is that there's not many routes you can do on a test. So Swift's driven test and the state test at the Swift Academy out in Lewiston are actually the same. It's not supposed to be, but it is. So take that for what you will. So the kind of the first clue that I was not gonna do, that I was gonna have problems with shifting, was that moment when I missed that moment when I was coming down from about 45 miles an hour and I missed eighth coming out of ninth. So I ground around a little bit. There's this Idaho State Patrol on the side of the highway, and E and I make eye contact before while I'm sitting there grinding around a bit before I finally get it to fall into seventh, and that was the end of that, fortunately. But it really didn't help with my confidence for the state test, which was the next day. So fast forward to the next day and nail the backing portion, no problems. That we expected that. That's what we had the longest amount of time to work on, and we literally had a 1 student to 1 truck ratio in my class. We had enough people either fail or drop prior to the last week of classes, because they try to fail you as fast as they can if they're going to fail you at all. They don't want to saddle you with that debt if they don't have to. So get out in get on with the backing portion. Get out on the road. No big deal. Feeling pretty good about myself. I wasn't expecting to ace it like that. And kind of right away I start realizing that I'm in over my head a little bit, because I'm already starting in first when I should be starting in fourth. Don't know what compelled me to do that. Just about everything I say in this video that's going to sound really fucking stupid. We're just gonna append to the backside of every one of those statements right now. I don't know what compelled me to do that. So get through most of the test and grind a couple gears here, have a couple close calls, barely make the right decisions with the yellow lights, go no go things. They're about what you expect from a new driver. A lot of stupid mistakes, and finally there's just this downhill portion that's, it's the last leg. So going down this hill, it's 25 miles an hour, rocking it in 7th gear, and it's no big deal. Get down to the bottom. And for reasons I cannot fathom, something possessed me to grab 8th. Because there's just this green light at the bottom of the hill, like a couple more blocks up, and I'm sitting there staring at this thing. I know for a fact it's stale as all hell, but still, something compels me. Clutch to neutral, clutch to 8th. Right at that exact moment, light turns red. Okay, no big deal. Get on the service brakes, RPM, bring the RPMs down to about 1,000 RPM. Clutch to neutral. Slap that throttle to rev match it, because manual truck, non-synchronized transmission. So you basically have to either double clutch or float, but no matter what, it's your job to match the RPMs. Otherwise, it's not going in, period. Completely missed 7th. Think, okay. Just think nothing of it. Foot on the service brake for a minute while I gather my nerves again. Lose about 100 feet. Pop that throttle to the floor real quick. RPMs up to about 1550. Try to clutch into 7th. Grind it out again. Completely miss. At this point, I fucking panic. I have my foot on the service brakes. And my speed's going down 15, 10, 5, about 4 miles an hour. I'm a block away from this red light. It's still red. Luckily, there's nobody in front of me, so it's me against this white stop line. And so I throw the splitter switch down, start grinding around in the bottom half of the transmission. That's first through fifth. Trying everything. Try fifth, no. Fourth, no. Third, no. I'm about 20 feet from this stop line. And I think for a second. 10 feet from the stop line. At this point, it's now or never. If there's anything that they've told me that I can think of that might be helpful, might as well try it. Because the alternative is I failed state test, and I don't know if Swift's going to give me another shot in the next day or not. Or if they're going to give me another shot at all, for that matter. So, just out of desperation, I throw that splitter switch back up, yank over to my left side wall, yank over to that left side wall, slap the throttle, 1550 RPM, clutch in, and yank down. At that exact moment, and I cannot make this shit up, 3 things happen at the same exact instant. I hit that stop line. Truck falls into 6th gear. Traffic light turns green. Floor the throttle, grab 7th. Floor the throttle, grab 8th. State tester starts navigating me back to the yard. We get there, secure the truck, pop the brakes, put it in neutral, shut the truck down. And I look over to see this state tester staring at me, slack-jawed. We sit there for another about 30 seconds of this, and he's like, "Do you realize how close you came to failing your test?" Because, yeah, remember what I said? Stopping with the truck out of gear. That's why just hitting the service brakes and putting in gear once I came to a stop was not an option. And then the whole thing with failure to yield is another way to fail. That's why just keeping on going until I got it into gear was not an option. So that's that's honestly the sad part is they let things like this slide because it's, let's face it, you can be as perfect as you want to be out of school, and when you get out in the real world, shit's gonna happen. Truck's not gonna go into gear, brakes are gonna fail, other vehicles are gonna fuck with you, and then you get stories like the one I'm gonna have to share later, which is about the last load I pulled with Swift. The 45,000 pounds of just bulk peanuts. That was fun. But yeah, no, it's just, I was 2 feet, 1 gear, and I was 2 feet, 1 gear, and one traffic light change away from not driving today. At least not in a professional capacity. So, moral of this story is, if there's a solution, no matter how far-fetched it is, try it. Because your only other option is to give up and let your fate be what it will be.